Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, Obsession, the new Curry Barker film, is here. Hard to believe this is a Blumhouse Pictures joint, because you'd think it'd be cheesy, you'd think it'd be lame. It is not. Obsession is cool. Big entry in the YouTubers turned filmmakers series. Excited to talk about it. Stick around for our Obsession review. Also going to take a look at The Crash over on Netflix. Really odd documentary that might catch some awards attention later in the year, but for now is real strange. But a 17-year-old girl who gets in a car accident under mysterious circumstances. Turns out maybe things aren't as innocent as they seem. Stick around for the review. I'm looking forward to talk about it. A little police state, a little surveillance state, a little bit of propaganda. It's a whole thing. Stick around for the Crash review. It's nuts. We're going to take a look at some upcoming trailers, namely the new Laika film Wildwood. Hope has a new trailer, Her Private Hell. Lanterns for a little bit of television in our TV corner. Before we get to everything, we got to hit the news. Our first story this week, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma has officially premiered at Cannes. This is our first look at the new Jane Schoenbrun film following I Saw the TV Glow, which we were really warm on just a few years ago. The world has finally seen a look. What's the news, Andy? Is it a heater or is it a flop?
I mean, the audiences are just enamored with it, and you got to take everything in that festivals, especially Cannes, with a grain of salt, because every film gets like the red carpet. Everyone is like cheering. So you got to kind of sift through it a little bit, but early reactions are overwhelmingly positive that it's this kind of dark throwback, sapphic story between Gillian Anderson and Hannah Einbinder.
Yes.
But yeah, initial reviews and impressions are incredibly positive. People are calling it a classic. That's just, and I'm excited for this. I was so excited to see what they would do after I saw the TV Glow. So we've all been anticipating this. This is going to be out a little bit later in the summer, I think in July. So we'll be looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Like I said, we were really warm on TV Glow when it came out just a few years ago. I think this is going to be like a clever blend of the best parts of that movie, right? It's going to be a send-up of old 90s nostalgia, namely Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and just a handful of Sleepaway Camp from 1983, which notably ends with a transgressive twist. I think that'll be a big part of what's going on here. I think it's a little bit practical. It's a little bit funky. We're going to have some gooey effects. And notably, it's coming from Jane Schoenbrun and Mubi, who is putting this out with her, following what they just did, The Substance. Mubi didn't do TV Glow, right? That was A24.
It was
but
Neon,
this is her jump over there. Neon.
You're right. No, it was A24.
Yeah, no, it was in the A24 Blu. I got the A24 Blu-ray, yeah, because they didn't put it out on 4K, and I was pissed. And it was like, well, I guess we're just stuck with the Blu-ray then. Anyway, this seems like it's going to be a big hit. I don't know a lot about it. I'm trying to go in pretty clean, but I'm really looking forward to it. Like Andy said, though, people do gas it up at Cannes for sure. So far be it from me to put this on the outline acting like, oh, it's going to be a hit. It's going to be a banger for sure. Maybe not. It could be weird and lame for sure, but early signs for Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, very positive. Anything else on this one before we talk Voltron?
Let's talk Voltron.
So they're making a Voltron movie over at Amazon with Henry Cavill. Turns out, though, it may not be going to theaters, which is kind of lame. I think everybody's kind of banking on that maybe happening, especially Cavill, who needs it following his recent Superman ousting. What do you know about this, Andy?
Well, again, this Voltron property has been talked about a little bit. Henry Cavill getting attached to it was really exciting. I think at one point there were talks that Sydney Sweeney was going to be one of the lead. It's not. Rita Ora is attached to it. But again, these projects, you never know what you're signing on for. And I know the stars don't want to be a part of straight to streaming kind of films. People like of Cavill's caliber want to be on the big screen. So it's a big disappointment. It also is just like, well, that probably means they're spending less money, smaller budget, and it's not going to look as good. But maybe that was the right place in the first place, because I mean, Voltron is like, it's not Transformers. I don't know if it has a big enough audience to really justify a theatrical release, in my humble opinion.
You mentioned Henry Cavill is in the film, also Rita Ora. Also going to star Sterling K. Brown, who's expected to portray the villain, Zarkon. I know we last saw him on Paradise over on Hulu. People have told me to check that show out. It's all right. I like that show all right. It's not bad. But notably, I think it's interesting that they actually wrapped filming in this in 2025. So they finished filming this movie. Voltron is done. And we have not seen a moment of footage, not a frame, which implies, at least according to Polygon here, who reported on this, that the film relies heavily on CGI, which is probably makes sense. But now it sounds like it's probably not coming in 2026. We're looking at like 2027 maybe. It's going to go straight to streaming. Not great. I'm with Andy. I definitely don't think Voltron has the pull to be Michael Bay's Transformers yet. I think it could. I think you put some good marketing behind it. It's got the sick logo. I know Netflix had a lot of luck with an animated series not long ago, so there's at least some interest there. Like, they ended up doing multiple seasons of that show because people were watching it. Netflix loves to bail on stuff. Like, somebody's interested in Voltron. I think, like, with the right framing and the right gas, like, you could maybe give it the Mortal Kombat treatment. This film goes to streaming. Maybe it does well. Maybe the next one goes to theaters. You know what I mean? Like, I think you could pull the American public into Voltron. I think it's got a little bit of something that people want, but yeah, for now it doesn't seem like it. Bummer for Amazon, bummer for Henry Cavill. The Expendabelles. I can't believe this is real. You found this. Tell people what this is.
So they're looking to kind of reboot the Expendabelles franchise, which was the all-action movie series where they got all these old stars together, you know, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, all these kind of stars of 80s and 90s action cinema, and got them to all be in one movie together. And it was a big hit when it started, you know, in the mid 2000s. They did 4 of those. They made less and less money. And now there was talk of a long time of doing an all-female version. It never really came to fruition, but now it looks like it is in The Expendabelles, which is a great title. I keep laughing at it. I don't think this is a great idea as much as I want to be supportive of female filmmaking. But this is kind of like, if you ask most actresses, they'll say like they don't want a female James Bond. James Bond is like a man's character. They're like, don't write us something else. Write us a new spy. Just write a different property. And that's kind of what this feels like. There's not a huge amount of female action stars to choose from. That's one of the things, you know, it was a very kind of sexist situation in the 80s and 90s. You only had a handful of these actioners. So I don't know who you would pick. Also, like, this idea worked in 2008 because these guys weren't near as old now. Like 20 years later, everyone's like in their 60s and stuff. It's just, I don't know who you get. It would be better to do with maybe a younger action stars. I'm thinking of people like Anna de Armas or Charlize Theron, something like that. But I don't think this is really going to work. But the title's hilarious.
We got to put together, maybe for next week, we can put together like a fan cast or like a tier list or something, power ranking of who should be in the Expendabelles. Because yeah, you could get some bangers in there. But I like the Hollywood Reporter reported on this and cited a couple other examples of recent franchise films that have been given a spin with all female leads that have grossly underperformed. Which feels gross to say, but I think they're decent examples to look at, namely the 355, which is a film Jessica Chastain-led film starring Penelope Cruz, Diane Kruger, Lupita Nyong'o. That movie came out in 2022 and made $27 million worldwide, so not great. I barely remember 355. Like, it's crazy, but I kind of remember it now. And then, 2019 had a Charlie's Angels reboot, which did not do good, 73 million worldwide. Obviously, these are not the Expendables, but like Andy said, it's been a minute since there was one of those movies. And there's a good chance that the kind of dudes who would have gone and seen Expendables would be making jokes about a movie like Expendabelles. That's like a punchline for them. You know what I mean? Which is not great. You want something that inspires confidence. It is a funny title. They got a bit of a log line here. Lionsgate is the ones who own the Expendables franchise right now. They got the rights to it late last year. This would be an origin story set in the late 1990s during the height of Y2K era tension and geopolitical uncertainty. All right. Planning to introduce a new generation of elite female operatives in a stylized, action-driven cinematic event designed to expand the mythology of the franchise while standing firmly on its own. So if it's a bomb, they can go back to making boy stuff, I guess. Feels a little weird. Feels a little gross. I'm going to be honest, but also I think it's really funny. And frankly, I would love for one of these to come out and blow the top off of this all-female action film thing not working, because that can't be a thing forever, right? One of these has got to pop. It's got to happen. Maybe Lionsgate and Expendables are going to be it. I don't know.
Right. It reminds me of comic book films. Like, there are, female-fronted comic book movies, but they still cater to male audiences. Like, women just aren't as interested in that sort of thing, even if there's female leads. So I feel like that's how it is in kind of the action genre. You can make it all females. That's not necessarily going to drive more women to see it. You need to be making Barbie 2.
Yeah.
Devil Wears Prada 3 if you want that crowd.
Yeah, God, yeah. Who am I kidding? Devil Wears Prada is crushing it at the box office right now. Like, that's a way better example, I think. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Keep it here for more. From the box office, Michael is continuing to crush it as it goes back to premium screens. Otherwise, I don't know, kind of a quiet weekend at the movies, right?
Well, the box office is really healthy for a change. Usually spring is a little weak until, summer hits, but it's been good the last couple months. Michael did make another 26 million domestic and just crossed 700 million worldwide, which is a huge milestone. Again, we've kind of adjusted box office earnings in the last 5 years. 700 million is the new $1 billion mark. Everyone's kind of readjusted their expectations. In second place, The Devil Wears Prada 2 with another 18 million and 546 million worldwide. So like that's continuing to be a huge hit because it was like an $80 million movie. Like it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't a $200 million movie. So it's like that's doing great. Obsession, the what we're going to be talking about here in a second, the new film from Curry Barker, 16 million exceeded expectations. This was aiming for the 10 million area, made 16 million and then 23 million globally. Movie was made for around $1 million, like super, super cheap horror, and it's raking in the dough. It's going to do well. I think it's going to have legs. There's good word of mouth, so good stuff.
Yeah.
Coming in. Go ahead. Actually, take this
No.
off.
I was going to say, I continue to be surprised by Devil Wears Prada 2. I knew that movie was going to be a hit. I knew it was going to make money. I did not think it was going to be the second highest earner of the year. That is nuts. Over $700 million global. That is crazy. Give it a minute. We're going to get Devil Wears Prada 3 at some point, right? Anne Hathaway will be the boss, and Meryl Streep will be like semi-retired or something and like hanging out behind her, like puppeteering from the... I don't know. I didn't even watch the second one. Point is, crazy. Meanwhile, Obsession, man, really continuing this trend of YouTubers becoming filmmakers. Yeah, made that movie for under $1 million. I was watching a TikTok today where the costume designer for the film said she found one of Nikki's most important fits in the movie at Goodwill for $4. Crazy. You know what I mean? Wow. Like, this is just like kids making stuff in their garages and studios who don't want to pay for, experienced filmmakers are eating it up, right? Horror's cheap. Anybody can make it. Like, they've already got a built-in audience. They're gonna have better marketing with kids who are making these things now because they are already tied into socials. Like, they have a plugged-in audience. Like, the math on letting YouTubers make a horror movie is like increasingly good. And I think Curry Barker is like another fine, sterling example of that being a success. Yeah, under $1 million, crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's going to have good legs. It'll be interesting to see how it does the next couple of weeks and when Backrooms comes out. Continuing on with the box office, in fourth place was Mortal Kombat 2 with another 13.4 million and also crossed the 100 million mark globally. That's doing pretty well, but it was an expensive movie, about twice as much as the first one, $80 million or so. So it's going to need to be closer to the 160 plus area to really kind of be in the black, but still doing pretty well in its second week. And The Sheep Detectives, which we might have to check out at some point because I've heard a lot of good things. 9.3 million domestic, 58 million globally. This little family, fun family film is doing really good.
Yeah, we do need to check that out. I keep hearing about it. A few people have asked me if we watched it for the show, and we haven't, but we'll keep it on the list. We'll come around on Sheep Detectives, I promise, because I'm curious too. Like, a movie doesn't make that kind of money, it doesn't have that kind of word of mouth. That's something really special happening in the middle of it. So yeah, keep it here for more for Sheep Detectives. Also wanted to mention this Top Gun double billing. IMAX re-released the Top Gun films, first one and Top Gun Maverick, this last weekend. They made $12 million global, putting those two movies out again. That's crazy. That's just free money. You know what I mean? I know it costs money to put stuff in theaters and run like small ads, but for films that already came and went, like that's a great revisit of the box office. That's awesome. $12 million. Crazy.
Yeah. It like I said, it's an exciting time at the box office. It's usually, like I said, April's pretty weak and then we're halfway through May. Summer is here, but it's just like every week there's a great movie out. So it's been really good lately.
God, Guy Ritchie's movie came in 9th place.
Tell us a little bit more about that. What is that?
Yeah, Inde Gray, starring Henry Cavill, right? Like that nobody saw and we didn't cover on the show. Yeah, that's the new Guy Ritchie movie. It's in 9th place with $3 million. I just scroll past 19 ads and 7 links to other things to get to this little paragraph down here from On Hollywood Reporters. Like, by the way, Inde Gray did terrible. Dude, Cavill cannot catch a break. Like, Voltron gets axed. This movie sucks. I wonder what the next Guy Ritchie film he's going to be in is going to be. Maybe that'll be the one. What do we do to get our boy back on? Get him in a streaming show, I guess. That would be the move, I think. Come on. Do an HBO show or something. Or do one of these weird horror movies with a YouTuber. Like, maybe he needs to do that.
Yeah, he needs to make some better choices, work with different directors. I don't know why he keeps working with Guy Ritchie. He keeps doing these movies that are like completely forgettable. They come out in like April, May. No one sees them, and they just kind of come and go. We watched the previous one, the
Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Thank you. I could not remember the word in between. Yeah, Ungentlemanly Warfare, and that's a fun movie. We enjoyed it, but it was just like kind of forgettable. No one really saw it, and now he's done it again, and with this movie that did have wide release and like no one knew about it. I think I saw a trailer like 2 weeks in the theater for it, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, at least in that movie he's playing opposite like Jack Reacher, right? Alan Ritchson. He's got like this big goofy beard and like a machine gun. I was like, okay, like that's something I have not seen from Cavill. Like if he's just playing like secret agent British man and Inde Gray, like that's not going to do it, dog. Anyway, we don't need to tell Cavill how to run his career. He's great. We love you. We got to move on. We got to talk about our first film of the episode. I'm looking forward to talking about this one because I was a little bit skeptical, and I was so pleased over the weekend when people who listen to the show, namely y'all, thanks for checking it out. Andy, people started reaching out to me and being like, hey, have you seen Obsession yet? Because there's something cool happening here. So I'm so excited to talk about it. Andy's taking the summary. Please, Andy, take it away.
Obsession. So this is the feature film debut from YouTuber Curry Barker, now director Curry Barker. Really excited about this. I remember seeing the teaser for this a couple of months back, and it was really creepy, really got under my skin. And I knew what the premise wasn't anything outlandish. And I was like, oh man, what is this going to be about? So Obsession is about Bear, played by Michael Johnston, and his friend group of like post-high school 20-somethings. They all work in the music store together. They're all good friends. They hang out, all the time, every week. And Bear has a crush on Nikki, played by the great Inde Navarrette, which we'll talk a lot more about. And he really wants to tell her how he feels. And I think every guy and girl has been in this situation at one point or another in their life. And it's one of these situations where everyone knows that Bear has a crush on Nikki, that he's in love with her, and that he's too afraid to like bring it up. And it's like obvious to everyone, including Nikki. And he's just kind of too scared to do that. And he has a couple of his other friends, Ian, played by Cooper Tomlinson, and Sarah, played by Megan Lawless, their friend group. On the way to trivia or just to get drinks, Bear stops by like this antique shop or crystal shop, and he's like, I'm going to get something for Nikki because she just lost a thing. And he sees these Wish Willows, and they're very simple. You buy this trinket. It's a stick. You break it in half and make a wish, and your wish come true. And it's a little bit of a monkey's paw scenario, which that's exactly what Bear does, and he wishes to have a relationship with this girl that he's in love with. And almost instantly, that's exactly what happens. And for a very short time, Bear is living the dream. He's with the girl that he has been in love with and has been crazy about, and she's crazy about him now. But it isn't quite all right. It's not quite going, because Nikki kind of won't leave. Like, she doesn't want him to spend time with his friends, doesn't want him to leave the house, won't, spends the night every night. And things more sinister, which we won't get into just yet. But this movie's been received really well, a lot of buzz about it. I wanted to go and see it again. I'll give my thoughts a little bit more later, but Zach, what'd you think?
I think Obsession is really fun and really cool and really good. And it's so clever because it's a horror premise you've heard before. It's a monkey's paw story. It's a cursed object story. It's be careful what you wish for story. Just this last October, I watched an episode of the old 90s show Goosebumps, and they have one episode that is exactly this premise, almost to the T. Everybody walking to Obsession kind of knows the bit. We know that he wishes for a thing and she starts to like him, but it's not right and something's wrong, and then it becomes deadly, right? So if it's going to be good, it has to be the filmmaking. It's got to be the craft. It's got to be the people in it. It's got to be the script. It's got to be the cinematography. There has to be the way it's told has to be the thing that works. You got to be in good hands. And from just the first opening minutes of Obsession, you realize, oh, we're in very good hands. Curry Barker knows what he's doing. We are in the hands of somebody who is on track to probably a long and illustrious career here, and this is a fantastic first entry into the theaters, especially at under $1 million. Crazy low budget, like it's like they shot this thing on iPhones, like crazy good, crazy fun. Inde Navarrette's a star. I'm so excited to talk about Obsession. What do you think of the movie?
Yeah, I really love this. I saw it on Thursday night. Wanted to get out there in front of it. It's really scary, and I'm trying to get ahead of the overhype because I don't want that to ruin it for people. It's pretty scary. It's not like the scariest thing of all time, which seems to happen when there's a good horror movie. All of a sudden, it's like the scariest thing that ever has been made. That's not the case. I think it is profoundly scary and disturbing in a lot of ways, but not just in like the traditional jump scare thing. I mean, it'll get under your skin. And the thing is, their relationship is, initially everything's going well. She's like adores him and like wants to be with him all the time. But then there's something more sinister going on, and there's some sort of evil going on underneath, making this all happen. And the other thing that Curry Barker does is he doesn't give us too much backstory. He doesn't like it'd be tempting to do a huge lore dump and explain a whole bunch of backstory, but he really doesn't. That makes it real effective. But I think the thing that stands out the most, you can take away the horror elements, and this would still be a great story. It would still be profoundly disturbing and probably hit a little bit too close to home if you've ever been in a toxic codependent relationship or someone with maybe BPD or a ton of anxiety. Very similar to that. It's also really funny. In the setup in Act 1, we get a lot of laughs, a lot of good chuckles. And then a lot of good scares, a lot of horrifying things that like play out in your mind. It's just great to see original horror.
Yeah, I think so much of it comes from a great script. Like I said, it's a story you've kind of heard before. So if it's going to work on you, like it has to be a magic trick that's performed well. And I love how this script zags when I think it's just going to zig. Like I expect it to go one way and it goes another. The whole first act, you kind of know where it's going. A lot of it's in the trailer. Like, our guy gets this one Wish Willow. He kind of thinks it might be junk, but when he tries to tell Nikki his feelings, she actually confronts him, which I didn't expect. And says, hey, you know what? You're going to tell me right now how you feel. And he backs out and he says, I can't do it. It's not the time. It doesn't feel right. Everybody who's ever been in a relationship has had these sorts of feelings. So he snaps the willow and then things change. But the world knows Nikki's not right. The world of Obsession knows. Her friends know. Ian and Sarah both know something is wrong with Nikki. Like they can tell. And they know that Bear's crazy about her. So suddenly when all the pieces start to fall into place and things start to work, they're poking at him and they're poking at her and going, hey, something's not right here with y'all. This doesn't work. And that's nice. It would have been so easy for Bear and Nikki to have their own private problems and then the rest of the world just think it's sunny and rosy and everything's good. No. The world of Obsession is pushing back against what's happening here. Also, Nikki is too, because the magic doesn't work perfect. The wires get crossed a little bit. And there's moments when maybe there's a breakout or you see a flash of how she really feels. And I think that sets up great confrontation. Big frights, like big scares, big surprises, and maybe even a bit of violence. Because ultimately, if this is going to be a cursed object story and that monkey paw has to curl, she has to go from loving him to being willing to harm him in some fashion, right? This is a horror. How is your protagonist in danger if the antagonist loves them? Where does that come from? And there's a great scene early in the movie when you get to kind of the thesis of what's going on here when Nikki and Bear are in the car. He's given her a ride home, and this is before the wish. This is before things have changed. We get a great opening with her where we get to learn more about who she is and kind of feel her out. When she kind of says, she's working on a story. She's writing. She says, I'm writing a love story, and he's like, oh, I like romance. She says, it's not a romance, and he's like, well, aren't all love stories romance? And she's just quiet. And it's just such a great little piece of writing, I think, that starts with what sets this movie up to be something spectacular. It's a great script.
The other thing that works really well is our performances by our two main leads, Michael Johnston and Inde Navarrette, who plays Nikki. And Navarrette is this incredible discovery and standout. Her performance as Nikki is unbelievable. It's one of the best performances in a horror movie I've really ever seen, because she's not just doing like the misery thing like Kathy Bates, or just like the obsessive girlfriend. She's essentially someone who's possessed by this wish, and there's all these scenes where she like contorts her face, she changes her voice a lot, like she's a demon some of the time, but then she's also Nikki, and she's just this is what I did not expect from the character. I just thought she'd be obsessive, and I didn't think there would be like this acting masterclass that she has to go through. And I don't want to give away too much other than to say that her performance is incredible. Michael Johnston as Bear is also really good as the, I'm not going to say victim, the person who's involved with her in all of this, because he plays this sad sack, like quote unquote nice guy, kind of incel thing, the stereotypical like guy who's like, well, the girl never likes me, or the hot girl doesn't like me, and he gets his wish, but you realize that he's not quite the nice guy that he believes himself to be. But his performance throughout this, which is he's in almost every scene of the film, incredible as well. So we have two really strong leads, good supporting, a fun cameo by the comedian Andy Richter as well. But the standout here is Navarrette. Like, she's unbelievable in this movie.
Yeah, Andy Richter was such a pleasant surprise. All the kids work at this music store, which I found out via IMDb trivia is the same music store they shot scenes from Wayne's World in, where they do that Mike Myers goes in to play Zeppelin on a guitar, and they're like, you can't play apparently it's that same one. Crazy. California. I don't know how Andy Richter got tied up with the production, but he's a delight as like he's in like 2 or 3 scenes. But yeah, the music store manager, I think he owns a place. Also, I'm pretty sure Sarah's father, who's the 4th friend, who also, believe it or not, is a little bit into Bear. Just a little. Like, not too much, but you get the vibe that she kind of fancies him a bit, and maybe he's not so into her. Meanwhile, Ian, the 3rd friend, Bear's best friend, he's got his own motivations. At the beginning of the movie, him and Bear are trying to work out almost like a mock Bear asking her out, and he's giving her advice. Then later you find out that he actually knows something about Sarah that Bear didn't know, and then that crosses wires, and there's a bit of like communication error. And of course, this starts with Nikki and Bear. Yeah, Nikki, who starts one way before the film kind of takes her running off in a different direction, whether she likes it or not. And Bear, who seemingly has the best of intentions in wanting this person, but has a horrible wish and wishes that they would change in a way that doesn't make sense. And it speaks to how affection is different from like affirmation, and how the way you feel about somebody does not necessarily reflect how they truly feel about you. Like, it's just strange, and it's creepy, and it's all very, very juicy when things start to go so very wrong in Acts 2 and 3. A little slow in the mids, for sure, especially when things are rosy in the relationship and you know that things start to have to go wrong. But I think that is where some fun lighting, some good cinematography, and namely great sound design really punches up Obsession as well. Because a lot of Nikki's stuff, turns out, found this out as well, Inde Navarrette, not a fan of horror movies. Apparently she couldn't get through Hereditary. She was like, I can't do it. They freak me out. I don't like them. So she does a lot of big stuff in here, which is really cool. But namely, like, a lot of stuff happens off screen, and you're just getting like squelching and screaming and banging on doors. That stuff's low budget, so it's effective to shoot, and also like terrifying because it lets your imagination do the work, along with some like good needle drops, like really great sound in Obsession.
Yeah, this is a good time to talk about overall mood and kind of things that it reminded me of. Like, of another Curse movie, It Follows, remind me a lot of that because, again, we have this original idea executed really well with top-notch performances, and it's something that just kind of gets under your skin. Like, yes, there's some good scares or things that kind of, jump out or that just kind of freak you out, but there's also just kind of the things in your mind, or things in the dark. And one of the things I thought that was really brilliant is that Nikki is shot in almost complete dark, in total shadow a number of times, and she kind of seeks the shadows out. And it's this really good thing where it makes her look a little bit like a ghost, but more importantly, it completely strips her identity, because Bear isn't really interested in her as much as this idealized version that he's created. So the movie has a lot of that. Like, there's a lot of use of shadow and darkness, and that's where a lot of kind of the scares come from. It has a brilliant soundtrack that I added to the soundtrack playlist, which I can't think of the composer right now. But it had, again, similar to It Follows, but also something like Donnie Darko, something that's like a little synth, a little bit kind of 80s feeling, you know, makes it lose time, makes it not feel of the moment, even though it definitely is. This is like probably one of the first like Gen Z horror movies that I've seen.
Yeah, it's real tight and real wound down. It reminded me a little of like Zach Cregger's Barbarian, or even like in a really odd way, like Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. I think maybe just because Michael Johnston. He's new. I haven't seen him. He's got a bit of a jaw. He's got a bit of that Bruce Campbell, like, comes from a small town, nobody knows who I am yet kind of feeling, even though I know he's done a bunch of productions, namely voiceover work. But like, I think the way Campbell's girlfriend Linda gets possessed and taken over, and he slowly changes, and by the end of the movie, he's like cutting up people with a chainsaw. Like, Johnston has to go through a similar sort of like innocent, quiet, but loving person to something different by the end of the movie. Like, he has to change because his person is changing, and like the person he wants is changing. And I don't know. I think there's something cool here. This is a really cool movie. I'm really glad we got to watch it for the pod. I'm so curious to, I think I know what you'd recommend. Andy, would you recommend Obsession?
Yes, I would. Absolutely. It's one of the best horror movies of the year, maybe the last 5 years. Might make my top 10 list of the year. We'll see. Really scary, really unnerving in kind of the undertones and very strong themes. Great performances by our leads, Michael Johnston and Inde Navarrette. Great soundtrack. Rock Burwell is the composer there. Really scary. Go out and see it. See it twice. Highly recommend.
Yeah, highly recommend Obsession. Obsession rips. Go check it out. Tons of fun. Weird, kooky, small budget, big vibes. Go check out Obsession. Walk, don't run. To see Obsession at your local theater today. All right, we got to talk about some upcoming trailers. We got 4 here on the docket. What do we call this segment, Andy?
It's time for the trailer park. So the first trailer we have up is Wildwood, which is the latest entry from Laika, the stop-motion animation studio behind such hits as Coraline and Kubo and the Two Strings. Love Kubo and the Two Strings. We don't really get too much of a plot in this new trailer. It looks like a sister and her younger brother going on all sorts of adventures. I don't know if they're real. I don't know if they're in like a dreamland kind of thing. The animation is always stunning. This trailer is really moving, has really great music to it. I'm really excited about this. This comes out October 23rd.
I'm definitely excited for new Laika. I traditionally try to go see these in theaters whenever possible. I'm almost always warm on them, even if there's something odd like I like Missing Link. Okay, actually, last time I saw that was on an airplane. But I think the thing that really stands out about Wildwood is, to me, how many characters they have on screen. I read a tweet about it right after it came out. They did okay, surprisingly, for Twitter, especially because I don't pay for premium or anything. But they have so many characters on screen at once. There's in the opening of this trailer, there's like city footage when our characters are like riding a bicycle with a wagon attached to the city, and it's just like dozens of animated characters, dozens on hills biking. There's ones in kayaks. There's a guy with a cane. There's a person in a wheelchair. Like, there's battle scenes towards the end of this movie where there's like hundreds of people on screen running around with guns and clubs and swords and knives and fighting, and it's like stop motion. And there's people in the comments that are like, well, they enhance it with CGI. I'm like, well, I can't see the seams. Where? Like, if they are, which parts? Like, I think one of the things I like so much about stop motion, Guillermo del Toro spoke on this a long time ago when Pinocchio came out, was you can see the way it's being made. You can see like the kinetic, tangible fabric of humans and filmmaking and hands that make stuff behind it. And with Laika, you typically can. Yeah, they do enhance stuff with CGI, sure. Like, I know they throw some green screen up for backgrounds, but for what it's worth, like, it just seems like a step forward in a time full of AI and computer algorithms and machine learning and CGI that could probably be done by computers when people won't be able to. Like, Laika's doing something special, and Wildwood seems like a step towards that. I hope it's a banger. I have no idea about the plot. The plot could be trash, but at least the animation looks cool. And I hope that's cool.
Sure.
We got to talk. Speaking of films I don't know the plot of, we got to talk about this trailer for Hope. This is a teaser from director Na Hong-Jin. It is surprisingly full. It's like 98 seconds long. I didn't know anything about this. Andy had mentioned it. I went back and ended up watching the teaser. I think it looks incredible. I still don't know a lot. The IMDb's got the tagline. A mysterious discovery is made on the outskirts of a remote harbor town. The residents find themselves in a desperate fight for survival against something they have never encountered before. In our trailer, we have a police officer rolling up in a squad car on a town that looks like it just got absolutely demolished. Like a pint-sized Godzilla just walked down the streets, banging up buildings and blowing out in interiors and there's a whole lot of bad going on. There's holes ripped through buildings. There's corpses strewn about. And when a cop in a leather jacket and a shotgun goes looking, he ends up finding something in there. And we cut to footage in the woods of people walking around with firearms. People get into fights. This chick cop who's got like an AK going off. There's guns. There's motion. There's monsters. I think Hope looks incredible. And I know it's from the guy who made The Wailing, Na Hong-Jin, who I haven't seen. What do you know about this, Andy?
Well, not much. I think this is premiering this week at Cannes. Like, there's a bunch of news coming out of Cannes this week. We'll catch up with it next week. But I think this is premiering there, which is exciting because when it starts out, it looks like an actioner. You know, it looks like a zombie film. Eventually emerges to be more of an alien film. Tons of action, machine guns, riding horses, cars. You know, it looks like a Michael Bay feature almost. But it has a Cannes premiere. It's by a well-respected South Korean director. It looks amazing. Like the alien design is really creepy, really cool. Like it's more of a horror action kind of thing. It looks like a mix of like Resident Evil and the monsters from A Quiet Place. It looks really cool. I was totally into it. And that comes.
Yeah,
sorry.
What's next? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry.
Tell us more.
Hope comes out fall 2026. We don't have an exact date yet. Also, and this just dropped today, is the new film, also premiering at Cannes by Nicolas Winding Refn, who of course directed Drive, what he's most famous for. Her Private Hell, which is his new film starring Sophie Thatcher and Charles Melton. It's futuristic. She plays kind of this lost girl who... the tagline is something about this mysterious mist flows through this futuristic city and kind of changes things. She goes on a search for her father. Charles Melton's character is on a search for his sister. It's really weird. It's really bizarre. And first reactions are out today. People are walking out. People are hating it. 1 star. And like, if you're a friend... Oh, no. If you're a friend of or a fan of Nicolas Winding Refn, that's what his movies kind of do. Like he's very much an acquired taste, and his movies can be very, very divisive. His previous film, The Neon Demon, was the same way. That stars Elle Fanning. That's a brilliant film, I think, but people walked out of that one as well. And when I hear that, I was like, well, I got to see what's everyone walking out of. I'm a fan of his. Like I said, it is an acquired taste, but I'm looking forward to it. Her Private Hell comes out July 26th.
This will be a good opportunity for me, along with y'all, if you're interested, to revisit Nicolas Winding Refn. I was just telling Andy, I'm not a fan, so this is perfect for the pod, because he likes him and I don't. And I've been wrong before, so I don't want to say that I know what I'm talking about. I saw Drive like everybody else did. I thought it's probably one of the best movies ever made. It's incredible. I saw Only God Forgives, thought it was a huge miss. It was like, oh God, huge. So he's making his art movie. Like Drive was for the studio. This is going to be his thing, right? It's like George Miller's 3,000 Years of Longing. But then Neon Demon comes out and I totally missed it. I just didn't even bother because I was like, you know what? I'll see it later. I don't know. I love Elle Fanning. Well, we'll get around to it. And I just never did. Then he's taking a break. Now we have Her Private Hell by NWR as listed on the trailer. I like Sophie Thatcher. I like Charles Melton. I need to go see this in a theater. And then more importantly, you and I should line this up off the pod. We should see if we can find a screening of Neon Demon or something running around this. Cause I bet Texas Theater, somebody's got it. Like we should go. That's the best way to get into a big director like this, who I'm not into, is go to a theater. And I'll bet there's some screenings around coming up. I bet Only God Forgives might get one too. Like I'd probably go check that movie out again. Like, yeah, I watched that movie once and was not into it. Probably worth revisiting. It's been over a decade, but anyway, Her Private Hell looks weird. We'll see. If you're a fan, write into the show. Tell me what I'm missing. Help me out. Shoot me a DM at Off Script Film Review. Whatever. One more to talk about from the world of television, and more importantly, DC. Lanterns has a new trailer out. This is starring Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler as our two leads. Green Lantern new recruit John Stewart and Green Lantern legend Hal Jordan, who have to learn to work off each other and work together in a modern setting to overcome some unspeakable evil in 8 tidy episodes. This is coming out in August, and let me tell you, it looks good. Looks like a good time. I like Aaron Pierre coming hot off Rebel Ridge. I like Kyle Chandler coming hot off of, what was the last thing I saw him in? Wolf of Wall Street? Friday Night Lights? I don't know. Morning Edition? He does all kinds of stuff.
He's done something.
Yeah, he's been in all kinds of stuff. It's fine. They're both delightful. I'll also get a quick look at Guy Gardner in here, played by Nathan Fillion. Got it. Yeah, you're firmly tying this to our Superman universe, Supergirl universe, Peacemaker universe. I don't know. It's a lot of action. It's two of them kind of bickering. You're never going to get it, kid. There's a theme towards the end of what are you afraid of, which I know some people have said might have something to do with some Green Lantern lore I don't understand, Sinestro or Yellow something.
I'm here for it.
Good. Yeah, please fill us in. I'm sorry. I don't know it as good as you do, but it looks cool. 8 episodes coming in August.
So this, it looks like it's going to be kind of a detective cop procedural. I remember hearing early on that it was going to have True Detective vibes, and that's what we get. We don't really know what mystery they're trying to solve, but they are kind of partners working together begrudgingly, and one has the ring. John Stewart, Aaron Pierre's character, has to, I guess, earn the ring. We get to see a little bit more comic book kind of stuff in this movie, which is cool. We get to see them in their suits. We get to see some of the Green Lantern constructs. And yes, we get the fun surprise from Nathan Fillion and his terrible haircut that he has in the Superman movie from 2025. And yeah, there's a lot of mentions of fear and a character named Sinestro, which, if you don't know, is a Yellow Lantern. And a Yellow Lantern is powered by fear, whereas Green Lanterns are powered by will. And a good example of a Yellow Lantern is someone like Batman, who he causes fear. He is not fearful himself. And so that's how the Yellow Lanterns, and there's actually like 8 of them in like different colors. They all mean different things. Like Supergirl is actually a Red Lantern because of rage, anger. So we don't really know what all that means yet. I'm sure it'll tie up, but it means we may get some of these Yellow Lanterns, some of this fear stuff in the show. I think this looks really cool. It looks way more promising than it did initially after that first trailer. There was a lot of kind of skepticism. This is like, okay, now we look like we're in a real comic book show, and it'll be out after Supergirl, of course. So I'm really looking forward to it, and that's August 16th.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I got to get back on my TV game. That'll be a good something for me to dig into. Seems pretty light. Seems like a solid entry into wherever DC's headed with it. And I really enjoyed Peacemaker, so for what it's worth, we're going to be checking it out. If you want to keep up with us watching that and these other films, best way to do that is just subscribe to the podcast, and we'll let you know. We'll send you a notification or something. We'll DM you. You'll see it. It's fine. You'll see it when we cover it in August. Watch it along with us. We got to talk about The Crash over on Netflix. Really odd documentary film. Looking forward to talking about it. I'm taking the summary, so please excuse me, funny delivery. The film is The Crash. So, on July 31st, 2022, Mackenzie Shirilla crashes her vehicle into a brick wall in Strongsville, Ohio, killing the 2 passengers in the car, her boyfriend Dominic Russo and his friend Davion Flanagan. Both Russo and Flanagan are pronounced dead on the scene after police officers arrived shortly afterwards. While Shirilla is seriously injured and taken to the hospital, 17 years old, everything has changed. Life has fallen apart. But suddenly, upon closer investigation, police officers realize that there's no skid marks on the concrete before they hit the wall. And then they go looking at the car and realize that the accelerator is pressed down the whole time. Then they go looking at text messages and realize that, hey, wait a second, her and her boyfriend who was in the car, Dominic, were fighting an awful lot. And suddenly it starts to seem like maybe this wasn't as much of an accident as it seemed. This ends up going to court in 2023. The film is The Crash. It is a documentary covering all of this from director Garth Johnson and Netflix, where you can watch it right now. Andy, what'd you think of The Crash?
So this is an interesting case because, this is going to be full of spoilers because it's history. It's a documentary. But Mackenzie Shirilla was sentenced to prison for essentially the murder of both of the boys, essentially saying that she crashed the car on purpose. And so that's kind of the tagline, and the documentary kind of explores these kids. They're like right out of high school, and the investigation. And there's some things we're going to talk about, just the way it's made and things like that. But it just starts off as a regular, everyone thinks it's just an accident, teens partying, driving late at night, lose control, crash the car. But then they start to do a little bit more investigating. And like I said, some surveillance technology, camera stuff in the car reveals that actually that the car was accelerated the entire time, the gas was down the entire time, the brake was never hit for the last 5-10 seconds, and that she's eventually charged with the murder of both these boys, saying that the crash was on purpose. And it dives into, again, their relationship, bunch of social media stuff, lots of areas to start with. I don't even know, where do you want to begin, Zach?
Yeah, I wish I could say I liked this and I liked what was going on here, but I think the crash is indirectly an indictment of our system and our problems and how we as a culture like perceive one another, to its fault, to its detriment, in a way that doesn't work, because that's not actually what the movie's about. The movie's just very, very straightforwardly about Mackenzie Shirilla killing these two people and then suffering the consequences of that. But the way it gets there is like surveillance state, dog. Like, oh my God, the cops get everything from this girl and they just dump it all in this documentary. And I'm sitting in my living room at 1 a.m. watching this, like watching clips from Mackenzie Shirilla's phone when she was 16, like filmed with her boyfriend that were never meant to be seen by anybody. And I'm watching them and judging her. I don't know who this person is. I don't know anything about her. And this whole documentary is framed like, well, she's a murderer. And it's like, well, yeah, but she's also like a stupid 17-year-old. I was a stupid 17-year-old. All of us were. Nobody should be treated to this. Nobody should have this happen to them. And like, her family's involved in this. She is involved in this production. Like, it is a documentary that I think fundamentally kind of misses what's so interesting about this story, which is like, we just live in a funny time when we will needle each other and true crime podcast our way through any sort of violent, horrific nightmare of a problem, which is kind of what this movie's about. And like, I wish I could say I liked it as much as like The Perfect Neighbor. I thought that movie was doing something a lot more clever, but like, this feels a lot like that, but in a way that I feel doesn't work. And I'm not a fan. I just kind of felt gross at the end of this movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels real gross and very invasive. It's very Gen Z. Like, Mackenzie Shirilla was very much kind of like a wannabe influencer, really into fashion. These are all like affluent kids, and affluent neighborhoods are all wearing like, designer stuff. There's a great part where they're interviewing some guy from the school, and he has like the most awesome jacket on I've ever seen in the interrogation room. And I'm like, what neighborhood is this? But, but Mackenzie Shirilla was someone who was on TikTok all the time. This is the TikTok generation. And that's where a lot of this footage is. And they have like 4K footage of all the kids, because they're posting to TikTok all the time, posting to Instagram. They're trying to be Instagram famous, trying to be an influencer. And so there's, tons of footage from like years and years and years. And that feels a little gross to me. The part that is like surveillance state propaganda is that this case isn't solved without the CCTV footage that they got from the surrounding buildings, which showed the car accelerating for like 10 seconds. And also the what they called the black box inside the car itself, which gave data for the last 10 seconds of the drive. Without those two pieces of evidence, they don't have a case. And so it's kind of, it's propaganda for like, yeah, we need all this kind of surveillance stuff. Look, we solved a crime. And it's like, well, in this case you did, but do we really want that in our society? And again, like The Perfect Neighbor, it's propaganda. It's showing the police being competent at their jobs and like bringing justice to in this unjust situation. There's also just so much left on the table. Like, you could have really dived into the influencer stuff, or drug culture of Gen Z. The parenting, like most of the parents are so stupid. They're like the dumbest parents of all time in this documentary, except for the Flanagans who had adopted 3 of these siblings. They're the only competent parents. Everyone's like, what are you thinking? There's so much to dive into, and it doesn't dive into any of it. It really just kind of presents the facts and like kind of startling case. And it's the kind of thing that like, it felt so like Reagan-esque and conservative. And it's like the kind of thing that middle-aged parents would watch and wag their finger at.
Yeah, it's not fair. Like, it's not fair to the people in this movie, and it's certainly not fair to the victims. Like, dude, you can pull anybody's cell phone. Like, you can pull files off of it and then paint a picture of who you think they are in any way. Like, you could find videos on my phone that I've recorded that I never meant for anybody to see that you would think, oh, this guy's nuts. Or maybe you could find videos on Annie's phone. You'd think, oh, I didn't know this about him. Like, you see a private side of people that isn't public. Like, what's obvious in this documentary is Mackenzie Shirilla is a very stupid 17-year-old who thought that she and her friends were invincible like every 17-year-old does. And she was being dramatic and got in a fight and was like, I'm going to wreck this car. And then she did it. That's the really stupid part. 2 people died and her life has changed forever and fucked. I do not think it was intentional murder. Sorry, I don't mean to curse in this podcast. It just comes out sometimes. I don't know why I need to say that. It's fine. Anyway, you're all adults here. Anyway, like, I just find myself so frustrated with how this film, like you said, frames her as a villain. They cut to her like halfway through the movie. It's a big reveal that like, well, she was smoking reefer. She was smoking marijuana. And then it's like 60 videos of her phone of her like ripping blunts in the car, which kids think is cool. Like, I'm sorry kids think that's cool in America, where of course it is. Also, they cut to like a test thing and it's like Delta 9, dog. It's diet legal weed you can get at any vape shop in the country. They might as well have been like smoking cigarettes and you're like, oh my God, cigarettes. Like, that's not even real. Like, that's not even real drama, but the film needs it to be because it needs Mackenzie Shirilla to be this villain, which it is. And that makes it all the more tragic when they cut to footage of like her and her parents, like, crying in the courtroom and the victims' families crying in the courtroom. And it's like pain Olympics or something, dog. Yeah. It's like, it's just putting these people's lives on horrendous display so we can all log into Netflix and like watch with ads, you know? Like, I don't like it. Yeah. This movie like made me feel icky in a way that like is not positive.
Yeah. To me, the stupidest people in here, aside from, our 17-year-olds, are the parents. So a lot of the situation, I was just like raising my eyebrow. So Mackenzie Shirilla was living with her boyfriend Dominic while still in high school. Like, she was 17, he was 20. I was like, why are you at 20 years old dating a high schooler? Why are your parents allowing you, a minor, to live with your boyfriend? Why is Dominic's father allowing a minor to live in property that he owns? And it's just like, yeah, Mackenzie's parents, she's the one who was convicted. They're like, well, I'm no one's a perfect parent, what do you, sometimes they just like, no, man, that's kind of your responsibility not to have like this terrible person in this, like, you're supposed to keep them safe. The parents are just like so stupid, and I think contributed to a lot of like the situation that's here. You could have like, no, you can't control your teens, but you can not have them in some of these situations that they did. I really feel for the Flanagans. Like I said, they're the parents that fostered, and their son Davion was killed. He just happened to be catching a ride. He was in the back seat, and he just happened to be in the back, just asked for a ride. And when these couple got into a fight, presumably, and crashed, and he's no longer with them. But yeah, the parents, I'm like, what are we doing here? This is like the worst parenting of all time. And just like style wise, it felt so similar to The Perfect Neighbor that I was like, oh, this is just like the Netflix style. It's like, okay, you put together, you find a court case that has a lot of footage that you can use, like, body cam, other surveillance stuff. In this case, there's tons of TikTok and social media footage, and you just kind of throw it all together. You don't ask the hard questions. You don't dive deep. And it made me think, I was like, I don't think I'm going to watch any more of these true crime Netflix docs, because they're kind of all the same. They're very voyeuristic, and it's like, where's the documentarian that's out there with a camera on his shoulder asking like some hard questions? Because there's a lot here that you could get into, a lot of things about modern parenting, society, whatever. And it's just like, it doesn't ask any of it.
Yeah, like just reading the Wikipedia page about this, there's been multiple documentaries made, but like this film completely fails to mention that. And again, I can't defend Mackenzie Shirilla here because she did what she did, and that's that. But her and her boyfriend Dominic started dating when she was 13 and he was 16. So when she was 17 and they got in this accident, he was 21 years old. She moved in with him when she was 16. And they're like, they found mushrooms on her. Where could she have got those? Like, probably her 21-year-old boyfriend who she moved in with. You know what I mean? But he's just a victim. Like, none of that has anything to do with this. You know what I mean? It's like, this is a whole sick, twisted American thing. And like, that's what this documentary should have been about. Like, that's what this should have been. And instead, it's just like, this girl's a monster. Look at her. Everybody point and laugh at the freak. You know what I mean? I'm just like, wait a second. Like, hold on. Wait. Like, nothing. Everyone's bad here. There's nothing good here. I see that. But like, it seems a little silly to pick sides. And that's exactly what The Crash is doing. It's like, it's not going out of its way to talk about a deeper problem. That's what The Perfect Neighbor did. Like, that's how The Perfect Neighbor framed all of this. Was like, this could happen anywhere in the country. The Crash is like, just, this girl sucks and she's going to be in prison forever. And like,
isn't like, the surveillance state great?
Yes. Yeah. And like, good thing
Fund
we got
your local
lock
police.
Cameras. Yeah. Right. Good thing Ring cameras turned over footage so we could look at that. And it's like, her parents gave us her passcode and that unlocked everything in her life. Like, dude, this sucks. Don't talk to cops. And I don't know, maybe don't watch The Crash. We should get to recommendations. Any other thoughts on this before we wrap it up?
Yes, don't talk to cops. Don't record your crime.
Don't record your crimes. Oh my God, dude.
Don't let your insurance company track your car. Like, I could go on and on.
God.
No, so this case is interesting because, like I said, she was convicted of a double murder and is serving serious time for it. Like I said, go read about the case. That's what the interesting part is. Netflix needs to get over this style of very kind of exploitative documentary filmmaking. It's nothing new. It's all using, existing footage. They're not going out and shooting anything, telling any kind of interesting story. They're leaving all the interesting questions unanswered. No one's interrogated. It's like, why are the parents allowing this? Why was this 20-year-old, living with a 17-year-old? All this kind of stuff kind of left out. So it's on Netflix if you're interested, but soft pass for me.
Yeah, I think it's well made, like, for what's here, but it tackles the story in the wrong way. Like, the interesting thing is not recounting the Wikipedia page and telling us that Mackenzie Shirilla is a monster. Like, the interesting thing is telling us that, like, this is a uniquely American problem that we all struggle with, and that we have a problem of a surveillance state, and we have a problem of kids having access to substances and social media that is rotting their brains, like, and making them make insane decisions, like wrecking their car into a wall at 100 miles an hour. The Crash is weird. I wish it was angled a little bit more at the real problem, like, but it just isn't. It's very one-sided. It's very straightforward. I guess if you like true crime, get out there, kids. There's plenty to bring you down in The Crash, boy. But I'd say pass. Don't watch this movie. Like, go watch Perfect Neighbor. I think that one manages to understand this a little bit better and I don't know, frame it up in a way that's not as harsh on the viewer for making you feel like you're just whatever. Anyway, that's The Crash. That's Off Script episode 336. Good Lord, Andy, what are we watching next week?
Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu is the big release, Memorial Day release this weekend. We're going to be checking that out, seeing how that's going to be. Early responses are kind of mixed. We don't really know yet, but looking forward to being in the movies. Also checking out Boots Riley's I Love Boosters, the kind of social satire film starring Keke Palmer and more about a group of petty thieves, or maybe not so petty. Boots Riley always does really great stuff. Really excited to see that. Also, an FYI release, Passenger, which is a new horror film. Involves a car stopping on the side of the road. Scary stuff happens. That's also out this week. But next week, Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I Love Boosters.
It's so funny. Like, I am so stoked for Boosters, the new Boots Riley film. I so am not stoked for Mandalorian. I'm like, I guess I'll get the popcorn and just try to get through it. I just think I didn't watch the last couple seasons of the show. It feels like homework. Star Wars is in a weird place. There's no way y'all are going to watch Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't believe it. I know it's going to make like $500 million, but I don't think anybody listening to this pod is going to check that out. So if you want to hear about it, we will be doing a spoiler-free review next week. Come back, check it out. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be around. We're consistent. We're persistent. That's what we do. We watch movies. We talk about them. And you can listen to us talk about them right here on Off Script Review every single Tuesday. New episodes on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartMedia, iTunes, of course, the big one for audio listeners. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Check out our website, offscriptfilmreview.com, and you can send us correspondence directly at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com right into the show. God, I always encourage people to write into the show, and some do, but not as often as I'd like. Come on. Write us an email. Shoot us an editorial. We'll probably read it live. We'll make a thumbnail. We'll upload it. You'll get 1 million views. You'll go viral. That'll be it. You'll be there. You'll finally be the star you were always meant to be. Right into the show, offscriptfilmreview.com. From all of us at Offscript, the home of both cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.